Why else would you show up with that thing on your back just 3 days before President Business is going to use the crackle to end the world?
President Business is going to end the world? But he's such a good guy. In Octan, they make good stuff. Music, dairy products, coffee, TV shows, surveillance systems, all history books, voting machines. Wait a minute.
Yep, wait a minute here. Okay, why does this ring so true for so many people? This is going to move into our topic of Luciferianism. Christians, pay attention. I'm not talking about it in the way you probably understand it. I need you to stick with me on this because it's triggering to say that word Luciferian, and I'm not sitting here going, oh, it's all satanic. I'm here to teach you a concept from mythology that's going to help you understand what is going on with the red pill thing. So when you are comfortable with you're vibing with the society around you, your consciousness level goes down. You become more like you're vibing, right? You're in the zone. You don't even realize, you drove to work. You just find yourself there. You drive home. You don't remember the drive. You just find yourself at home. Once you're in the zone, the days start to blend together and you're not super aware. Now, Daniel, in our line of work, when we were both in the warehouse, there were days where I would drive in and I would have that exact thing happen. I wouldn't really remember the drive. I wouldn't remember the day. It was just another day. But every now and then something would interrupt my routine, such as, say, the trash compactor breaking, which was a huge part of my job, was emptying a lot of trash. When that thing was broken, I'll never forget the nights that thing was broken, because it broke up my routine. You are more conscious because there's been an interruption to your autopilot schedule. This red pilling or trauma or something, it's something that makes you snap out of it a little bit. Now, I bet you didn't know that the same people who worked on the Lego movie were involved with the creation of The Matrix. And there's a reason that these movies are very similar and they have a similar effect on a lot of people. They have this very profound sensation when they come away from these movies. That is because it's demonstrating to you something that's real.
But when Hollywood writers Phil Lord and Christopher Miller decided to use the iconic toy company as their subject matter, no one expected the film to be so popular. Critics and fans loved it. During an interview with the Los Angeles Times, they were very candid about their intentions, saying,
"We set out to use a big commercial studio film as a Trojan horse to relay a message about the power and necessity of grassroots creativity."
The movie centers around a hero named Emmett, just as Christianity centers around a savior named Jesus. According to the Strong's Concordance, Emmett is the Jewish word for truth. All throughout the movie, there are references to the man upstairs, played by Will Ferrell's character. This is not only a figurative reference to God, but it is a direct reference to the God of the Lego people, because the man upstairs is the one who builds them.
The Lord Business is kind of the president / CEO of Bricksburg. I think he's viewed as being kind of a benevolent, supreme ruler of all the Lego people, and yet behind the scenes, he's really a control freak who doesn't want a lot of creative expression or outside thought.
He is the one who created everything to be perfect, who everyone is looking for, and who everyone is expecting to rescue them. This man upstairs built the Legos according to the instruction book and forces everyone to follow the rules. Emmett is the unlikely savior of a rebellious bunch that have broken away from the instruction book, claiming to value creativity over following the rules. On his journey to save the Legos from the tyrannical man upstairs, Emmett sacrifices himself to save the rest of the group. Everyone believes he is dead until the final moments of the film when he shows back up.
Basically, the concept is very simple. There is a false god that you've been trained to worship, according to this worldview. There are going to be moments in your life where something interrupts your routine of worshiping this false god that will try to lead you to the light, thus Lucifer. To illustrate this a little further, have you ever seen 2001: A Space Odyssey?
No, but it is on my list of movies.
So this is from the beginning of the movie. It shows in the film a bunch of monkeys running around in the desert with the title card, The Dawn of Man. So the monkeys are fighting, they're eating, they're surviving. And then one day, they all wake up and there's a giant black rectangular monolith in their midst. And at first they freak out. They don't really know what to do with it. But when they touch it, something cracks in their mind and they learn to use tools. The implication is that some outside force came down and interrupted man in his primitive state and taught him how to use tools. The one of the monkeys uses a bone to kill another monkey. And then in his triumph, he throws his bone up into the sky, and there's this famous shot right here where the bone goes up, and then there's a hard cut right here. It turns into a spaceship. What that's saying is that man, in his development of tools, is no further progressed spiritually, whether it's a bone as a weapon or a spaceship as a transport. These are all extensions of the human body. What it's saying is that man is still a monkey, despite all of his technological development. And there's something that comes in from the outside to red pill a person. This scene was duplicated, I would say. Well, maybe not duplicated, but it was certainly parodied in the Barbie movie, which came out last year and everybody went and saw. They didn't realize that they were getting more training in this programming, except this was targeted at women. It shows a bunch of little girls playing with dolls in a desert, as you can see here. And they have the exact same shot of when the monkeys woke up in 2001: A Space Odyssey. They wake up and they find the monolith. These little girls wake up and they see a giant Barbie doll. And then the red pill, the so-called red pill here, is they start using their baby dolls to smash their toys, their tea sets, their baby carriages, and all this other thing. So this is a representation of basically women's liberation. So it's the same model, but it's a different pill. It's a different message. Now, how old is this? Well, I will tell you, it's at least 3,000 years old. It may be older, but it's been in our movies for as long as film has been around. So this is a movie called Things to Come. It starts out with a town called Everytown, and Everytown is celebrating Christmas. But there's also in the background signs about wars. There's wars coming. And then there's a guy here, it cuts to a rich man in his house who is literally named Cabal. And in the house, they show that the Christmas gifts are all war toys. So they have a battle drum, they have an artillery piece. The children are all celebrating with their war toys, while Cabal reminisces about the importance of progress and all this stuff. After the Christmas celebration, they go outside briefly, where they see that the searchlights are on, and there's a war coming.
Merry Christmas, Cabal. Here's to another good year for all of us. Another year of recovery, eh?
What are searchlights doing now?
Watch this. Watch closely here, Daniel.
Well, it must be anti-aircraft maneuvers.
Oh! So we've got the spotlights in the sky arranged exactly like the Freemasonry compass symbol. Do you see that?
Interesting.
You think that's a coincidence?
I think not.
I think not.
Exactly.
Right. So then the war breaks out, and it goes on for decades. Until literally everyone's back to the Stone Age. So people are basically, they've gone back to their primitive state. They even have like a king who's just the toughest of them all or whatever. And he's obsessed with keeping his power until something falls from the sky. And it's a plane, inside of which is Cabal, who comes out and tells these backwater people, there's this beautiful enlightened land that, we can all go to, but first you have to basically put down your weapons, give up your kingdom and all of that stuff, and be subsumed by this order that's got all this sci-fi technology. Now the man doesn't want to do it. The king of this group, he's just kind of a brute. He's always getting drunk and feasting with his people. But while he's having a party, his wife goes down into the basement.
You are.
You come from outside.
And she sees Cabal imprisoned there because the king is afraid of him. This is representative of Eve in the garden being tempted by the fruit of Lucifer, who said, surely God did not say you would die if you ate this, etc. It introduces an element of doubt. It is not a coincidence that the only light in the room is a candle that's representative of Lucifer. There's all kinds of other magical programming in here. The kingdom is eventually taken down by Cabal and his gang by dropping gas on them that basically puts them to sleep. Then there's this ridiculous montage. I promise this is all coming to something. There's this ridiculously long montage of all this amazing technology that's being built in this future where they've eradicated disease, they've eradicated poverty, all this good stuff. And then there's one guy who, for no reason at all, has a problem with it, and he wants to tear it down. And he has a speech he gives about what is all this progress.
What is this progress? What is the good of all this progress onward and onward? We demand a halt. We demand a rest. The object of life is happy living. We will not have human life sacrificed to experiment. Progress is not living. It should only be the preparation for living. They staged the old Greek tragedy again.
The old Greek tragedy. What he's referring to there is the myth of Prometheus. This is an old myth. Lucifer and Prometheus are often interchanged and or mistaken for one another in a mythological structure. So this should explain a little bit about what the Prometheus myth is.
The Greek gods won a great battle against a race of giants called the Titans. Most Titans were destroyed or driven to the eternal hell of Tartarus. But the Titan Prometheus, whose name means foresight, persuaded his brother Epimetheus to fight with him on the side of the gods. As thanks, Zeus entrusted the brothers with the task of creating all living things. Prometheus shaped the first humans out of mud. He formed them in the image of the gods, but Zeus decreed they were to remain mortal and worship the inhabitants of Mount Olympus from below. However, Prometheus envisioned his crude creations with a greater purpose, and so he scaled Mount Olympus to steal fire from the workshop of Hephaestus and Athena. This gave them the power to harness nature for their own benefit and ultimately dominate the natural order. With fire, humans could care for themselves with food and warmth, but they could also forge weapons and wage war. Prometheus's flames acted as a catalyst for the rapid progression of civilization. When Zeus looked down at this scene, he realized what had happened. Prometheus had once again wounded his pride and subverted his authority. Furious, Zeus imposed a brutal punishment. Although Prometheus remained in perpetual agony, he never expressed regret at his act of rebellion. His resilience in the face of oppression made him a beloved figure in mythology.
There's a milieu of Western esotericism that worships Prometheus, or at least venerates Prometheus, for giving humans the light, the fire, for giving us, some amount of technology so that we can be more than the monkeys with the bone. What 2001: A Space Odyssey is saying, though, is that that only gets you so far. At a certain point, you have to get beyond the bone. You have to get beyond the spaceship. You have to get beyond the material, the technology, and that sort of thing. And what they're talking about is raising your conscious awareness. It appears there are some people who want to be Prometheus, and in order to do so, they have to basically poke the bear, wake people up. And they do it through the use of trauma, through the use of programming. When you start to realize that you're surrounded by what feels like Lego people, or NPCs, you kind of have two choices. One, you can be a Prometheus and try to wake others up and show them the way to the light, which is what Lucy does for Emmett in the Lego movie. Or you can resent them for being mere animals that need your help to progress beyond being just monkeys. This level of awareness, when you start to separate yourself from your humanity, can produce two types of people. It can produce people who want to help others see truth, or it can produce people who don't have enough humanity to realize they're abusing people. The opposite of being a Prometheus is being another form of darkness, and this is why Christians don't like Lucifer, because there's an aspect of this that can be bad. Did you ever see The Mysterious Stranger from the Mark Twain claymation? We're just going to go through it real quick because I think I need to demonstrate why this can be used for evil, okay?
Welcome to the mysterious stranger. Hello.
Who are you?
An angel.
What's your name?
Satan.
He gives the children treats, fruit specifically, and then he builds a castle. He then creates people. So this is, again, Prometheus creating people. Now watch this.
Can we help?
You may make some people.
I'll make the king and queen.
I'm gonna make a soldier.
The kids immediately build a king and queen and put them in a castle. They build a monarchy. That's the natural state of man, which was demonstrated in Things to Come. That's considered the natural state of man. Now, the Masons, during the Enlightenment, got a lot of sideways glances because they were saying things like, we need to get rid of all the kings. After the Enlightenment, and after all the revolutions, we no longer have monarchies or kings. We have basically liberal democracies, some dictatorships around the world, but very few. We've moved into a post-Enlightenment kind of society, which is much like Cabal's society that doesn't have a king. These characters come to life. They're animated little clay people, and they start doing what people do. They start arguments.
I find you humans quite interesting, even though you are a worthless, greedy lot. How annoying that sound is. Fools. What fascinations there are on this planet. Strange mortals with curious customs.
Strange mortals with curious customs, not like the immortal Cabal, who is enlightened and above all of these things, such as grieving your dead, having an argument over a cow in this case. And then what does this Satan character do? He immediately starts wiping them out and killing them. Right there, you've got it. You've got the king standing outside of his castle saying, how can this be happening? And then he gets zapped by lightning. Then the whole earth swallows them up, and the cycle begins again.
Never mind them. People are of no value. We could make more sometime, if we need them.
Basically, what I would like to point out is that there are movies that use this, and movies and stories that use this as an awareness increasing mechanism. But there's other people out there who use it and basically become psychopaths. So if you're curious about this stuff, be careful. And there's a certain element of disturbing undisturbed humanity that is wrong. There are people out there just living their lives who are unaware that anything is going on. They're just feeling pain when they watch the news. It's not necessarily our job to wake them up out of that, but if you find somebody who is, you want to help them along, because otherwise they could end up as a psychopath or a schizophrenic. So anyway, I just want to show you this last thing. This is from the Lucifer Wikipedia page. This is the planet Venus in alignment with Mercury. So you see all these planets lined up here. The Latin poet Ovid, in his 1st century epic Metamorphosis, describes Lucifer as ordering the heavens. You're wondering why I showed you this. Well, the opening shot of 2001: A Space Odyssey is exactly that. It's an alignment of the planets with a rising star over top of it. There's one other time this happens in the movie, and I don't really want to spoil it, but it's when one of the main characters goes through a mind-blowing experience. These shots are repeated. That's Western esotericism in a nutshell. If you want to read into this, I'd recommend being very, very careful, because, like I said, it can turn you into an absolute psychopath where you see other people as basically problems and tools.